I guess there's no film sacred enough to skirt around reboot or brand mooching treatment. Remember Dune? High caliber cinema. I've said as much based on my viewing experience, which is forever memorialized in my mind. As I've said before, in regards to Dune, it was my first film upon re-entering theaters post the COVID pause. I absolutely loved the experience of watching it. It was a surreal film. Like I said, high caliber art, in my opinion. You watch Dune in part and you think to yourself, Hollywood might try, years down the line, but there's no way you can produce a reboot as exquisite as this. That doesn't stop other and I'm sure Hollywood will, maybe 100 years from now, or maybe even shorter than that, I don't know. But for now, Dune, I consider it a sacred piece. Other outlets perhaps don't. This is a phenomenon I've been seeing emerge with other types of projects, especially among the creature thriller line as well, within the horror and thriller territory. And though I do try and be respectful as much as I can to smaller film fare, which I cover quite often, I love the indie space, there's oftentimes very strong art that you see produced in that environment. I tried to be as, again, like I said, equal as I consider my regard for commercial fare as well. And that's in part giving in terms of how much I provide attention to different projects. But there's other types of films in that market that you just can't ignore the obvious rip-off quality to. And Planet Dune is probably one of the most obvious examples to stand right alongside Jurassic Shark or Cocaine Shark. Yes, the shark trend as well. That has a whole list of parody films, I guess, and rip-off pictures that, like I said, I don't know if I've coined this phrase, but I call them brand mooching. You have a top-tier project come out with a lot more commercial notoriety, and all these smaller films come along, and it makes sense, free advertising, better search results, and traction. But I'm also on the side of be your own thing. I'm very originalist myself, and so I operate from that mindset quite often, especially in judgment, and Planet Dune is way too much of a rip-off in its title. The film itself is more along the lines of creature thriller, but again, it's mooching off of Dune branding. If you're not familiar with this film, which it came out, I didn't specify this, it came out right around the time that Dune did, too, for a limited release, I believe, in the US, and it did make its way around other countries as well, and you can watch it, in fact, on Prime Video right now if you so choose. I don't know if this is going to be equal to Dune, I would doubt it, but if you want a good baseline to go in, this is the IMDb synopsis. A crew on a mission to rescue a marooned base on a desert planet turns deadly when the crew finds themselves hunted and attacked by the planet's apex predators, giant sandworms. There's enough here, again, like I was saying, where it's not necessarily an obvious rip-off in synopsis and is more a mainstay and lower budget fare among the creature thriller trend. But the branding, it's just way too on point. The poster even, that looks like the Dune worms, whatever they were called, and giant sandworms. Rings a bell. Let's take a look at Planet Dune and see how effective it is, maybe it's being its own original thing, while still guilty as charged off of falling off of Dune. Maybe it could be like, we were inspired by Dune, but still be your own thing in your title. It's too obvious. And it does, again, ring certain bells with the space theming, the worms themselves and the design of them. This is very much like Dune. I don't think this is going to compare. IMDb presently has put this film as 796 ratings on the 25th of March of 2023 at 2.4 out of 10 stars, so it's not that strong of a statistic. Anyway, let's take a look at this and see how the film is. I'm doubting it's going to be that admirable, but let's take a look. It could be fine.
You are going to a desert planet.
Planet Dune?
6 crew, we lost contact. We're going to send you in to rescue.
Okay, the ship is a bit more originalist compared to Dune, perhaps. Maybe not to other works.
Coming in hard. We gotta hurry. Oxygen.
You got the overall color palette, the sand focus, and here come the worms. Even their emergence type is
we know what happened to the freighter crew.
Like Dune.
Help! Come on, we gotta get off this spot. There's more than one worm?
I'd like to request a retrieval team.
The crew's expendable. Dismissed, Captain.
They're not coming. Just get off this planet. Did you feel that?
Even the machinery is reminiscent.
We can't stay here.
They're too fast.
Okay, there were no volcanoes in Dune from what I remember, so that's fresh. It's like every other creature thriller that I've seen. for the most part. And some, of which are good. But in this territory, and this might be the intention that the filmmakers know. Again, I'm trying to be fair here when I consider this project in connection to smaller fare. Indie films have a lot less access to resources in terms of finances, perhaps. I mean, you don't have large studio backing all the time. So they're much smaller in their coverage of where they can go. And sometimes it'll show in the film. It'll be through the CGI, it'll be through perhaps the casting, it'll be through the world-building experiences of the story structure. There are usually points where you can tell with the movie it's a bit of an average-type project. Again, I'm not trying to be too mean, but I look at this, and again, this falls right in the territory of familiar creature movies among the lower-budget line. Enough shades here to be reminiscent of the original work. Now, just in title, you've got the sand mainstay on this planet. You've got the space theming. You've got the worm looks... Well, the overall body of the worms, I would say, looks very similar, even though the facial structure with the teeth is a bit different. Again, is more so along creature thriller territory in the film market. But even the machinery looks like Dune. There's so many points where like, okay, I clearly know what inspired this work in part. And it could be, hey, cinema produces a wealth of ideas. But this, again, you look at this and it's still like, if you're going to try and be a creature thriller, I would forgive all these points if it just weren't so obvious in the branding. Like, pick a different title, like, I don't know, Sand Chaos. That sounds so dumb. But it's like, again, it looks way too much like the original movie in part of spirit to not be like, well, this is a bit of a ripoff in terms of branding. It's not Dune. I mean, maybe they know it. Like, okay, there's, again, that level of campiness where it's like, we know we can't be Dune, so we'll work with what we have and maybe perhaps be intentional in our portrayal, even if sometimes the audience is laughing. Again, I've seen enough of these films to know the standard threads. Oftentimes, just engaging with the trailers, it's obvious. But it doesn't look to be that strong of a picture for me. It comes along, like I said, among the conventional lines, just with a real Dune chic. Maybe some will like it. Film is subjective, but I would imagine more people would be jumping on to Dune. I would think, including me. Let me know your thoughts down below, though, for those of you who are maybe engaging with this project for the first time. Perhaps you've seen it, because I'm covering this a bit late, given that it debuted in 2021. I'm on a bit of a reboot vibe today. I don't know, I just went looking up one project and suddenly I'm finding all these little piggyback pictures. I'm like, I should take a look at that one. I don't know, I'm in a kind of a weird mood. But I'm finally consulting Planet Dune, and just kind of flows into the existent trend today among creature thriller films in the small market space. Let me know your thoughts down below. Again, if you wish to disclose your perspective, whether you've seen it or whether you've not. And if you've seen it, did you like it? Did you not? Would you recommend it? I'd be open to hearing your subjective opinion on that. I look at this, and again, it might be, fun, entertaining picture, even just to humor it. It's like, okay, whatever. Maybe it's like an intentional parody in part, but if it's trying to be a serious picture, not completely there, and the brand trend with Dune is very obvious. Again, probably the most overt that I've seen, especially on simultaneous debuts. Dune, Planet Dune. Look again, for example, Cocaine Bear, Cocaine Shark. I mean, it's a running thing, and you probably think of other examples as well. It's obvious. This happens a lot in this space, so, the film might be good, it might not be. It depends on the picture, but maybe I'll humor it. I don't know. It's accessible on Amazon, so if you want to watch it, got a pretty wide distribution there, although you have to pay. I'm sure the filmmakers would love that. Anyway, it's so-so. I mean, the worms are kind of cool. Whatever than that, I'm like, it's a low-tier Dune, in part. Kind of crosses over, at least in my opinion, of what would be homage, and more like, it's a bit of a branding ripoff. Thank you so much for watching this video. Before you bounce, feel free to drop a like and comment, subscribe to this channel with a ding on the bell, and share this video with your friends. And consider checking out the description here. There you'll find links to my other channels, as well as addresses to my other social media accounts and ways you can help support my work if you feel so inclined. May God bless you, and looking forward to when our paths cross again.